Hello and welcome. Thank you for showing up today. One of the things that I've been thinking about is how I am in relation to those around me. So for example, in my house, I'm finding I have to work really hard to not get on everybody's nerves in my house and be patient with those that sometimes get on my nerves. But also figuring out how to remain close to friends and family that I'm physically distanced from. So there's this polarity and duality. So today's practice will focus on this duality. So contracting, expanding, growing and flowing, and just feeling comfortable in our bodies. So let's just start with coming into all fours, having your hands under your shoulders and your knees about hip distance apart, and then just start to move. Today we're going to be thinking about like we're moving through water. So just start to imagine the resistance that you feel when you're in water. So you could maybe move back and forward, maybe stretching out your wrists a little bit, maybe sinking down into child's pose, maybe moving from side to side. You could start doing some cat-cows, so meaning drawing your chin and tailbone up as you breathe in, and then as you exhale, draw your chin towards your chest, rainbow your spine, tuck in your tailbone. And then just moving with your own breath. So breathing in as your chin and tailbone come up, and then exhaling as you draw your chin towards your chest and your hips in. And we'll do that just one more time. And once again, imagining that you're moving through water. So very conscious movement, flowing, never stopping. So let's curl toes, lift your knees off the ground, and slowly lift your hips up towards the sky, keeping your knees quite bent. Let your neck relax, so maybe give a little yes, no shake, and then just start to pedal your feet. Once again, finding this flowing movement and flowing with your breath. So maybe breathing in as you come up to your tiptoes, exhaling as you bring one heel down towards the ground, breathing in and out like a continuous circle, never stopping. Now look to your hands and then just take some baby steps or a couple of steps to bring your feet towards your hands. Come to halfway lift. So you could have your hands on your thighs or your shins, have a really flat, straight back, and let the crown of your head go forward. Now bend your knees, forward fold, and then press into the earth and rise up. Bring your arms out to your side and up overhead. Then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So take a deep breath in, rising up, take a big gulp of air, and then exhale, hinge and fold, let it go. Plant your hands, step your right foot back into a low lunge, and then step your left foot back into plank. You could come into a supported plank on your knees, and then plant the tops of your feet onto the mat and lower your chest all the way to the ground, resting your forehead on the mat. Take a breath in, draw your shoulder blades back, and then lower down as you exhale. Let's do that 2 more times. So drawing shoulder blades back, bringing chest up as you breathe in and out. And let's do that 1 more time. So bring your chest up, draw your shoulder blades back, and then exhale, let it go. So we'll stay here for 1 breath. Now press into your hands up into all fours first. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold, and then press into the ground as you rise up with your arms overhead. Bring your hands to your heart and to your sides. So take a deep breath and press into the mat as you rise up, reaching, extending, and then dive back down. Plant your hands, step your left foot back into low lunge, and then step your right foot back into plank. You can stretch your heels towards the back of the room, draw your belly to your spine, lower your knees, plant the tops of your feet into the mat and squeeze your sides as you lower all the way to your belly. Draw your shoulder blades back as you breathe in. Exhale down. Now press into the mat, into all fours first, and then curl your toes on your way to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands, come to halfway lift, hinge and fold, and press into the ground as you rise up to the surface, gulping air. Bring your hands to your heart and to your sides. Take another full deep breath in, reaching, stretching, and then dive down. Plant your hands, step your right foot back into low lunge, and then step your left foot back into downward dog. Breathe in as you come into plank pose. Lower your knees and then lower all the way to your belly, planting your forehead on the mat. Now this time we're going to press up into cobra. So really press the tops of your feet into the mat. Press up with your hands and feel the sensation in your lower back, but also still drawing your shoulder blades back. Now lower down, bringing your forehead to the mat. Now press into your hands to come up to all fours first, and then curl your toes on your way to downward dog. Take a breath in as you take baby steps into halfway lift, hinge and fold, and then press into the ground to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Take another full deep breath in and then dive back down again. Plant your hands, step your left foot back into a low lunge, and then step your right foot back into downward dog. Take a breath in as you come into plank. Lower your knees and lower all the way to your belly. Take a breath in, rise up into cobra. Lower down as you exhale, and then press into your hands into all fours first, then curl your toes on the way to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold and rise up, breathing, rising to the surface, stretching, extending. And then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So take a full deep breath in, hinge and fold. Once again, plant your hands, step your right foot back into a low lunge first. Now, notice your foot placement and make sure your feet are in 2 tracks. And then press into your left foot, and we're going to rise up into a high lunge. Luckily, I had the wall there. So as you're in this position, you can start with your hands at your chest, but stand on the tippy toe of your back foot. Feel the strength in your front standing legs, and we're going to rise up. Bring your hands up. And bring your hands down to frame your left foot. Step your left foot back into a plank. Lower all the way to your belly. Plant the tops of your feet into the mat. Rise up into cobra. Lower down, bringing your forehead to the mat. Now press into the ground, curl your toes. Bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold, and then press into the ground to rise up, reaching, stretching. And then right away we're going to hinge and fold. Plant your hands, step your left foot back this time. Notice your foot placement. Place your feet in 2 tracks. Now press into your right foot to rise up. You can start with your hands on your hips and then bring your hands up. High lunge. So once again, standing on the tippy toes of your back leg, feeling the strength in your front leg. Now we'll come down and frame your right foot, step your right foot back into plank, lower your knees and then lower your chest all the way to the ground. Press up into cobra, breathing in, pressing the tops of your feet into the mat, and then lower down, forehead to mat. Now press into your hands, curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Now look to your hands, walk your feet up here to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold and press into the ground to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and to your sides. So we're going to come into mountain pose. You can stay at the top of your mat. I'm just going to turn so you can see me a little bit better. So standing tall, feeling your feet pressing into the ground, feeling a slight bend in your knees, a little bit of an activation in your thighs. Draw your shoulder blades or your shoulders up towards your ear and then draw your shoulder blades down and back. So feeling the expansion in your body. So feeling yourself pressing into the earth, but feeling that expansion through your whole body as you draw the crown of your head up. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here, just resetting. And just take a breath here, rising up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Let's do that one more time. So deep breath in, just feeling that energy pulling, reaching, stretching. Hands to your heart and to your sides. One more time. So feeling that full line of energy all the way from your feet, up through your body, coming up from your fingertips. Bring your hands to your heart and to your side. So we'll take one more deep breath in. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So now bring your feet wider than hip distance apart and point your right toes to the front of your mat, and your back toes will be at about a 45-degree angle. So we're going to rise in to warrior 2. So gazing out over your right fingertips, your shoulders will be drawn back. And we're going to do a little bit of movement here. So we're going to take a deep breath in, pivot your toes so that they're at the front of the room. Now pivot your left toes in the opposite direction. So you'll be bending your left leg this time, now gazing out over your left fingertips. So let's do that one more time. So taking a breath in and then pivoting to the opposite direction, warrior 2. Let's do that one more time. Breath in to the opposite side. And once again, feeling that feeling like you're in water, just moving, feeling the resistance of the air like it's water. And we'll do that one more time to the opposite side. And this time we're going to come up. Place your left hand on left hip, your right elbow on right knee, and we'll come into side angle pose. So drawing your left shoulder back to really open up your heart. You could bring your left hand up to the sky. And we're going to do a little bit of movement in this pose. So drawing your hand towards the back and circling around. So feeling the openness in your shoulder as your arm circles. So we'll do that one more time. So this time as your arm circles, press into your right leg, rise up to warrior 2. So gaze out over your right fingertips.
Now bring your hands to your hips and we're gonna pivot our toes. So moving to the opposite side. So the toes of your front foot are pointing forward and your back toes are at about a 45-degree angle. Now gaze out over your left fingertips and then bring your right hand to right hip, left elbow to left knees, drawing your right shoulder back this time to open up your chest. So you can draw your right hand up to the sky and then start to circle your right arm backwards. So once again, almost like you're doing a little bit of a backstroke through the water. And as you press up, come back up to Warrior Two, gazing out over your left fingertips. So now draw your hands to your hips. We're going to take a deep breath in, reaching, rising, extending. Now draw your shoulder blades back to open up your heart. So kind of in this star pose. Now bring your hands to your hips as you hinge forward. So feeling the stretch in the back of your hamstrings. And then you can reach down to the ground. You can bend your knees if that feels good. So let your forehead drop. So let the crown of your head drop towards the floor. And then we're just going to move from side to side. So feeling bending into your left leg as you stretch out your right, and then just walking your hands to the other side. Now stretching out your left leg, just feeling the openness and the expansion in your legs. So now come to center again. Really have a straight, flat back. Bring your hands to your hips and being careful with your lower back, slowly rise up. So now bring your arms out to your sides and we're going to pivot toes again. So we're in Warrior Two position. So this time we're going to reverse. So bring your right hand overhead. So feeling the openness in your right side body. Taking a breath in here. And then as you exhale, come to Warrior Two again, gazing out over your right fingertips. Now straighten your right leg and then reach out with your right hand as far as you can. When you can't reach anymore, pivot. You can place your right hand on your shin or your thigh and then place your left hand on your left hip. So find a placement that feels good for you. Once again, drawing that left shoulder back to really open up. But you might have to bring your hips a little bit forward. So playing with that alignment a little bit. So you could draw your left hand up to the sky. And we'll take a breath here. Now bend into your right leg and press up back into Warrior Two. So gazing out over your right fingertips. And then we're going to pivot our feet so that our left foot now is bent and our right back leg is straight. Take a breath in and we're going to reverse, reaching, stretching. So feeling the expansion along your left side body. And then coming back to Warrior Two, gazing out over your left fingertips this time. Now straighten your left leg. Reach as far as you can. When you can't reach any further, pivot. So place your right hand on your right hip. Your left hand could go to your thigh or your shin. And then draw your right shoulder blade back. So opening up your whole heart area. So we'll take a breath here. You can stay here with your hand on your hip, or you can bring your right hand up to the sky. So just taking a breath here, bend your left leg, press up into Warrior Two, gazing out over your left fingertips. And then we're going to bring our toes together again. Once again, first opening up, drawing, reaching, extending, opening up your heart. So you could have your hands on your hips as you bend, or you could draw your hands behind your back, pressing your knuckles into the earth and folding forward. If you're finding that the bind is too much, if that's too much pressure on your shoulders, you can always bring your hands down to the earth, but really focusing on letting your neck relax so the crown of your head moves towards the floor. And once again, we'll move from side to side. First walking hands one direction and then the other. Just finding some conscious movement, maybe feeling other areas of your body that need to stretch. I'm gonna stretch my left shoulder out a little bit, bringing my arm a little bit more to the right. And I'll do the same on this side, so stretching my right arm over a little bit further, so feeling an opening all along my shoulder blade. And then come back to center. And then having a strong flat back, place your hands on your hips first and slowly rise up, being careful for your lower back. So now you can walk just kind of heel toe your feet together. We'll take a deep breath in and then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. First, we'll bring our right knee up. So standing tall, drawing your shoulders back and just holding on to your right knee with your right hand and just opening up. You could use your left hand as a counterbalance. Feeling the wobbling in your standing foot, maybe finding a point of focus to look upon. Sometimes if you have something to look at, it's easier to balance. And just bring awareness to your breath and notice if you're holding it. And if you are, it's okay, but just breathe. So then we'll come forward and place your foot down. So now we'll take a deep breath in, inhaling, bring your hands to your heart and to your sides. So now we'll transfer the weight to our right foot and you can tent the toes of your left foot while you get your balance. Notice if you're standing up tall. Now draw your left knee up to your chest. And then you could place your right hand or your left hand on your left knee and just open up and using your right arm for balance. And breathing. And just noticing what good work you're doing on your standing legs. Feeling the muscles twitching and moving, wobbling. And then draw your knee in and your arm down. Stand up. So take a deep breath in. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Okay, I'll come to the front of the mat. Take a deep breath in, reaching, rising. You're going to hinge and fold, forward fold, and then we're just going to step into all fours and then come all the way down to your belly. So from here, rest your forehead on the mat. You can bring your arms out to your sides. Your palms can be up or down. And we're just going to first start by pedaling our feet like you're kicking through water. So bringing one foot up, and then the next, your hands will be pressing into the earth. So breathing in and out as you pedal your feet. And then coming down, just resting your forehead on the mat. So now bring your arms out in front of you and press the tops of your feet into the earth. Now this time we're just going to pedal our arms up and down. And imagine as you're pedaling your arms, that you're moving your arms through water. And then let your arms down. So now I'm going to have our brains work a little bit. So bring your right leg up and your left arm up and down. So as you breathe in now, bring your right arm up and your left leg up. As you breathe in and then exhale down. So breathing in, left arm, right leg, exhaling down. Breathing
couple of times with your own breath, breathing in and out, in and out. Now bring your hands right alongside your chest and then press up into all fours. And we're just gonna sink down into child's pose. So you could have your knees wide as you sink your hips back and draw your arms in front of you, resting your forehead on the mat. And we'll just take a couple breaths here, breathing in and out. And then you can press yourself up and then come to a seated position on your mat. So we'll start with our legs in a V position. Maybe circle your ankles, circle your wrists. Take a deep breath in, and we're just going to twist to the left. So bringing one arm in front, one arm in back, sitting up tall, taking a deep breath in, and then moving to the opposite side. And let's do that 2 more times. So just, once again, feeling like you're moving through water. So breathing in as your arms come up, exhaling as you twist to the side. Breathing in and out, in and out. Now come back to center, take a deep breath in, and we're just going to reach out towards our left toes. Your right arm will arch overhead. So feeling a stretch as you, in the back of your left leg, but feeling this opening along your side body as your right arm is up in the air. So take a couple breaths here. So feeling the stretch, and you don't have to be completely still. Maybe moving in and out, maybe stretching a little further, maybe stretching a little bit less, just feeling what feels good with your body. So coming up to a seated position again. Now draw your arms up, this time reaching for your right foot, letting your left arm come up overhead, so feeling the stretch along your side body. And breathing as you're holding the pose, just noticing where your body needs to stretch. My shoulder's a little bit tight right here, so I'm gonna just stretch that out a little bit. So notice if there's any parts of your body that need a little bit of extra movement and care. So now come up to a seated position, draw your legs together. Maybe roll your shoulders forward and back. Take a deep breath in, and we're going to hinge and fold over our front legs. You could have a little bend in your knees as you fold. And I'm just going to move back and forth. So I'm going to draw my toes up to the sky and then point my toes as I fold a little bit further. Just feeling where I need to stretch, what my body needs. And maybe what your body needs right now is some stillness. So that could be an option too. So letting your neck relax, your upper body relax, but still feeling the sensation of a stretch along the back sides of your legs. So we'll take just 2 more breaths here. Breathing in and out, and then come to a seated position again. So balancing on your sitting bones, we're going to come into boat pose because we've been thinking about water today. So you can bring your shins so that they're parallel to the ground, but still having this openness in your chest. And I'm going to start to row. So moving to one side and the other. So rowing my boat. So feeling the strength in my belly. And we'll go one more time per side. So you can stay here, or you can bring your arms and straighten your legs into a full boat pose. So we'll stay here for 3, 2, 1. So now you can sit up. Maybe it might feel good to just wrap your arms around your knees. Just drop your forehead towards your knees. So we'll take a breath here. And then come to seated, and then we'll slowly lower down to the back. So from this position, your feet will be planted on your mat. You can graze your fingers to your heels. So find a placement where your feet are about hip distance apart. You can just barely touch your fingertips to your heels. Okay, so we'll come into bridge pose. So press your feet into the earth. Press the backs of your arms into the earth. And then bring your hips up towards the sky. So pressing the earth away. And then we're going to do bridge with movement. So slowly lower your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, down to the ground. Draw your arms up overhead as you breathe in. Now press the earth away as you exhale, bringing your arms down alongside. Breathe in as you lower down and bring your arms up overhead. So let's do that a couple more times. So pressing the earth away with your arms and your feet, and then bringing your arms overhead as you lower down. So let's do that one more time. Exhaling as you come up. Inhaling as you come down. So now bring your feet off the floor. So bring your knees up to the sky. And we're just going to do some hip circles. So you can place your hands on top of your knees and just roll your hips in and out in a circle. And then you can reverse that circle. And then place your hands alongside you again. So next, we'll cross right ankle over left knee. You can bring your left leg up to the sky. And then you could bring your hands to the back of your left leg so you can hold on to the back of your left leg. Just feel the openness in your hip, and we'll just breathe here for a couple of breaths. Breathing in and out, feeling the sensation in your right hip. And then you can lower down, and we'll just right away go to the opposite side. So crossing left ankle over right. Now lifting your right foot off the ground, maybe holding on to the back of your right leg. And I notice in me that this hip is a little bit tighter, so this feels like a little bit more of a stretch for me. So I'm just going to breathe into that sensation. It feels good for me to just kind of roll a little bit back and forth as I hold this pose. So side to side, maybe it might feel good to roll your ankles. All right, and then you can bring both feet down. Now draw your knees up. Just hold on to your knees or your shins with your hands, and just slowly rock from side to side. Just giving your spine a nice massage. And then come in to a full body stretch, so stretching arms long, legs long. Maybe once again rolling your your wrists and your ankles. And then come into a resting position that feels good for you. So opening your arms with your palms up towards the ceiling. Maybe your feet are a little bit spread, so in a traditional Shavasana. If this isn't comfortable for you, find a position that is, a place where you can find some stillness for the last couple minutes of class. So staying in your position that's comfortable, drawing attention back to your breath. So just noticing your inhales and your exhales, and just starting to do a full body scan. So using your breath to help scan your body. So as you send your breath down your legs, notice any sensations in your legs, and then just feel the breath bringing relaxation to your legs all the way down from your thighs, past your knees, to your toes. So now bring awareness to your arms and send your gentle breath from your shoulders, past your elbows, all the way to your fingertips, feeling relaxation in your arms. And bring awareness to your back and send your gentle breath down your back, from your upper back, your mid back, and your lower back. And allow the muscles of your back to relax and feel yourself settling in, sinking into your mat. Allow the muscles of your neck to completely relax and feel your head sinking in, letting go. Notice if you have any tension in your face, in your jaw, in your tongue. And if you find that there's tension there, just let it go. So take a couple breaths here and imagine that you're water. Feel yourself flowing, changing, ever changing, never constant, moving with the flow with ease, easily able to adjust to the twists and turns in your life. And notice as water how powerful you are, how you have the power to move and change. And know that right now, especially, that the one thing that is constant in our lives is this change. And the more that you're able to flow and adapt, the easier things will be. So feel your energy and your power and your strength as you flow through life. So as you're resting here, know that there's nothing left for you to do now. Now is your time to simply be. So now start to bring awareness back to your breath. With each breath brings oxygen, but also energy. So start to feel some movement in your fingers and your toes.
just rest here for a moment and take time to thank yourself for taking the time for self-care, taking time to take care of yourself. Thankful that you're able to practice. And when you're ready, you can come to a seated position. You can draw your hands to your heart. And just know that there are always people, myself included, that are here to support you. So if you're feeling isolated or if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out for whatever you need. A lot of times we say namaste at the end of class, and there are so many meanings to what namaste means. But one of the definitions that I like is that I see and support you, and you see and support me. So namaste to you. Have an excellent day, and we'll see you soon.